Ooh.
Not the originals.
I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight, and did you do conflict of interest before open? No, yeah, motion open.
Second?
Roll call. Member Olson?
Yes.
Member Evans?
Yes.
Acting Chair Dabrowski?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
All right, are there any conflicts of interest that need to be disclosed?
I have none.
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 I'd like to make a motion to move 4 North Main Street signage to number 1, so we see him first.
I second.
Just have to find it in the packet.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just have just a second. Is he here? Are we coming up then?
I don't think we had a motion. No?
Yeah.
Did we have to?
No, we don't have.
No, I don't know.
Didn't have to be a motion.
Right. We're good.
But there was a motion. So.
Yep.
So we need
So let's just do that one.
So 4 North Main.
Yes, gallery. Would you like to join us up here?
Are we doing it as a motion? Because I didn't take a vote. We're just gonna
I
scratch
think it
it.
doesn't need to be a motion.
Okay.
All right, well, I can see here you've detailed the measurements for us as asked. Looks great. Is it just a few inches below the roof line, or the door frame?
The door frame is 88 inches tall at the top. I think this is 68 inches. So there are several rows of
70.
clapboard that would show above the sign before you got to the height of the door frame. So it's,
Looks like it's a foot if it's this that we're going off of.
Yeah, just that, yeah.
I appreciate the drawings. I didn't have any questions. That was just my only question from the last time you were before us.
okay.
Yep, definitely appreciate the updated drawing. The first one obviously had some issues. We apologize for making you come back. I think we almost got to a deciding point last time. I think the majority of us felt upset they had to come back, so that's why I want to make sure you came up here first.
Thank you.
But the new drawing with the dimensions is perfect. I have no questions on it.
Well, then,
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for signage at 4 North Main as applied at this meeting of the HPB on the 19th of September.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay. Member Evans?
Yes.
Member Olson?
Yes.
Acting Chair Dabrowski?
Aye.
Okay, and findings of fact?
I'll do it. The findings are that the sign as proposed is accurate, the drawings are accurate, the space where it's going to go is accurate, and it meets all standards required in the village,
Design guidelines, yes.
designed by the design guidelines in our village.
No adverse effect on the historic resource, easily removable.
Thank you.
Thanks. Great.
Thanks very much for moving me up on the agenda.
Good luck.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Thank you.
And sorry, I meant to state this before we started, but just the scuffle of moving that up, I just wanted to make all the applicants aware of the fact that there's only 3 people here tonight. You have the right to be seen before a 5-member panel, so if you choose, you can choose a no vote and table it into the next meeting.
They can choose to actually table it to the next meeting. If there's a no vote, it's official.
Yeah, so yeah, if it's a no vote, it is official, so a vote of no.
It would take all 3 members to say no in order for it to be, the application to be down.
Okay, 15 Austin Park.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening. Start out here. Okay,
All right.
so we're here for conceptual review, but most recently last month. I think maybe all 3 of you were here.
Yeah.
But, so it's a 1,400 square foot house that we're putting an addition on. It's a 2-car garage, replacing a single-car garage, which was approved. You guys approved the demolition last month, and the planning board has gone through the secret process now. We passed planning.
Site plan.
Site plan approval, and site plan approval, thank you. Above the 2-car garage is a master suite. So the issues that came up at the conceptual review were the removal of the existing front door. So we have put that back. We're going to replace in kind the existing concrete stoop and handrails just because they're in bad shape. Since we're going to keep them, we'll replace them as they are. There was also a comment about the double entry door that would be facing the street. So we've reduced that down to a single door with a side light, hoping that will, please lower. I've included, yeah, so there's the light, or the light, there's the door with lights. Everything else is the same. We're matching clapboard, we're matching the windows that are there that were replacement and approved by the board previously. That's it.
Just so this is going to be the door on the new entry porch. You're
Yes.
keeping the existing door.
We're keeping the existing door as it is.
Okay.
Nothing's changing there.
I want to thank you for addressing the comments from last month very clearly. Thank you.
And I just also, that is open, correct?
That is open, that's correct, yep. So you go underneath
Yeah, a little.
the second story.
And to clarify, is anything happening on that back porch?
No,
Just
nothing,
telling us
no, yes,
Okay.
that part of the project was removed.
Well,
Okay.
the only thing difference is this railing that's going to go in.
No, that's there. That's
there,
existing,
even
yep.
though it wasn't on the existing. And I'm just.
Yeah, that was a mistake on my
Okay,
part.
that's fine.
Yeah, that's there.
I had pointed that out
Yeah.
as something to bring up, but
Yes,
that's,
thank you. I
that's
missed it,
already
I
there.
missed it originally in the existing
Okay.
drawings, and it caught up to me once we removed the previously planned addition back there.
are you doing a whole new roof or just on the new?
We are gonna do a whole new roof, well, roofing to match, so it all is
Oh, asphalt.
matching.
But there's a
Yeah.
different roof line, it seems. Like those gutters don't match up.
The roof line, yeah, so it does,
Okay,
it steps
just the
in.
way that it looks, okay.
Hmm.
So-
Yeah, I drew this. It kind of helps with the new roof line
Mm-hmm.
of why it's there, because I had a question on the roof line in the back. So it
Okay.
kind of makes more sense when that addition will extend into the roof of the garage.
Yes, yeah, so the garage, floor plan, the garage comes out a few feet from the edge of the second story.
Mhm.
A lot of roof lines.
Yeah, it's shallow, so you really don't even see them, but
And then do you have any, I'm looking through here and maybe I'm just missing it, but any illustration of the new railing and
I
or
don't.
pad?
of the new railing for which?
The front,
For
the
for
original
the
front door?
original, it's gonna match in kind. Right now, it's just a steel railing, wrought iron railing, 1960s.
Yeah, as long as it's in kind then.
Yes, that's the
And
plan.
then same with the railing.
Yeah, so
Next to
we
the
wanted
garage.
to say, we wanted it to be very similar to what is existing,
Okay.
which is just a wrought iron railing.
And then what about the post also?
The post will be wood.
Okay.
Yes.
Was that in the application, that it's a wood post with
Yeah, it should be
railing? I just
marked.
missed the written portion of it.
Yeah, there should be a note
is
somewhere,
it
like
this?
wood column here.
Okay, wood column,
Yeah.
no handrail. Thank you, porch. And I am correct that this is the replacement for this. That
That's
garage is
correct.
taken down.
Yeah, that garage is taken down, and then the new two-car garage is put up.
Okay,
And is it a double door?
It's two
it's
doors.
2 doors, okay, and wood?
Wood, yep, that will be wood.
fixtures.
So there is, should be in the packet there.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's on either side of the garage doors. There's currently a single, like colonial revival style sconce.
Is
Very
this
small.
door still going to be in the back end of the garage?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So in the last meeting, we talked a little bit about reusing.
Mhm.
Honestly, it's not great shape, but that would be a location where we would reuse the existing back door. That's currently, there's a back door to the current garage.
Okay,
So that's not a change.
Well, it's,
That's what I'm hearing.
it's a change
In
because
location,
the
but it's not a
garage
change
is
in the-
new, but we can reuse the existing door. And that, by the way, that's not visible
yeah,
from
just,
here, really, unless you're
On your property.
on the property.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I just had one question about the use of this window, and could we put another one there to match it or anything like that next to it?
Next to it,
And I saw that you also already had this small window.
yes, we do.
Is that the same size window? or
It's
is
about the
anything new
same
about
size.
that?
There is a closet there.
Okay,
So we prefer not to put a window there. I think it'd be more open to taking the window out if there was opposition to the,
no, I think I mean, you should have a window there, get some
it'll
light,
be, it'll help
Especially
the room
with
for
the-
sure.
way that this is facing. The west facing, you're gonna want that sunlight in the room,
Yeah.
but it's small. You do have one already right there that's gonna be gone, but
It's not the most attractive house.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're doing a little bit to improve the curb appeal.
I think so. I think saving the front of the house facing the canal is a huge help. I'm
That was
glad you guys.
Yeah, and
decided
that really was a non-issue, so
Yeah.
we're happy to do that.
I don't have any further questions.
neither do I.
No, I don't have any more questions either.
So I'll make a motion at this meeting on September 19th of the Historic Preservation Board that we approve the addition, the application for addition for 15 Austin Park as proposed.
I'll second that.
Roll call. Member Evans?
Yes?
Member Olson?
Yes.
Acting Chair Dabrowski?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Findings of fact, it follows the village design guidelines, the application was complete.
Hold on, I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Sorry, it follows the village design guidelines. It supports,
Application was complete.
yeah, and it supports the historic nature of the structure.
No adverse impact. on
No
this
adverse impact.
historic reasons.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Follows village design guidelines, no adverse impact on historic resource.
50 State Street? Let's see. Oh, thank you. All right, so tell us a little bit about the application.
Hobby House Woolworks is a new shop. We opened Hobby House Needleworks, which is in the building next door 2.5 years ago. Got the approval for the signage there. Since then, the store's been doing very well, and we're expanding into the building next door. It's just the first half of the right side of Building J. We're on the first floor there. But the signage, we can't do what we did on the other building effectively because of the other signs that are already up. So we're going to kind of follow the way that those have been placed and the sizing and the overall density of the text on the sign itself. We've decided to match the sign to the left of ours, Urban Beauty. It's 95.5 inches by 18 or something. 24. Okay. And, but the lettering is going to mimic the Needleworks building next door, just so people when they come in see our second offering. So hoping there's a third someday.
Well, congratulations on the
Thank you.
expansion.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
We bring hundreds of people into Pittsford every month from out of town, from Buffalo, Syracuse, Binghamton.
Wow, that's
We
great.
had a meeting at the Del Monte this past weekend. We had 25 people flying from all over the country. They're here for 3 days. We're having 120 next month for a
Nice.
designer that's coming in from England. Yeah.
That's great. Good, great.
A needlework shop. They're called LNSs, local needlework shops. There's a lot of online stores, but very few brick and mortar still. So Bass became probably a top 5 shop in the country. So it's been going well. We do the online also, but we have a lot of walk-in customers that travel from all over.
It's nice to have walk-in again, and it's great that you're
It
bringing
is.
people to our community, so that's
It's
fantastic.
a lot of fun.
And expanded.
Yeah. The first 3 months, we couldn't open, but we were able to use it as a warehouse, just my wife and I and my sister-in-law, and the orders just took off right away. People were home looking for things to do. And we partner with the local businesses, Neutral Ground, we've had classes there. Even Olives, we've had stitch nights in their private room to the right-hand side.
How are you advertising that, and how have I missed it? Am I just not crafty enough?
All social, and that might be, we just do targeted social media, that's it. We haven't done any, we did a radio spot, I think, with the Chamber of Commerce. That was more of an ego piece, because you don't really reach stitchers through radio, but, so it's just very, very targeted social media. We're lucky to have that opportunity.
So about the sign, I appreciate that you are using the same lettering. I really like the symmetry on the building personally.
it
That was
looks
really,
good.
that's something I would have commented on if it wasn't that way. So I'm in favor of this choice. I don't have
You
any
make it difficult to
questions.
say no.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And the frontage, which isn't on the marking, I think Steve had updated, based on the total width of that section of the building, the frontage is 27 feet. It's one thing I forgot to put in my diagram.
You can see the symmetry very easily.
All right, thank you.
Heather, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Cool.
Make a motion to accept this
50 State Street.
50 State Street application.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call. Member Olson?
Yes.
Member Evans?
Yes.
Acting Chair Dabrowski?
Yes.
Motion passes. Findings of fact?
Follows the village design guidelines. It poses no adverse impact on the historic resource. It's easily removable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
Appreciate it.
Still need to get a little room on the table for a change. It's nice to have a little room on the table.
We can all spread out a little bit.
More room to shuffle papers.
Not hand tonight, it's
Not
nice.
that we have more papers in this.
No, not at all.
Right, 87 South Main. Come on down.
Evening,
Good evening. How are you?
Ed Butcher, the architect for this.
Thank you.
And, Patrick and Lisa Malasek are here as well.
Hello, hello.
Good evening.
Their boys are behaving in the back.
Yes, they are.
Particularly well.
For now.
Yeah. So we have parental discipline.
This project is basically satisfies the program to be able to stay in a village for their growing family. So we're taking the existing garage, the existing foundation, everything. We're adding 4'8" to the spring line of where the roof starts above the existing plate. And we're putting basically a great room above the garage. We're linking them between, the area between the house and the existing garage is a little less than 11 feet. So we're building a very small link that will be the principal entry to the home at that point.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's not visible from the street at all. That side, it's very barely visible.
It's a
Very rarely.
It's a wing.
It's a little on that one side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
And each roof steps down from the existing roofs. So in 1890, this roof was built. In the mid-60s, this wing was built along with a one-story garage and the breezeway, if you will. So our roof is about a foot, a little more than a foot below the roof line of the intermediate construction. Kept everything as low as practicable in section to be able to walk around the room, not bump your head. And we opened up the volume again with a little bit of a cross gable dormer facing south. So this all faces the driveway of the existing structure. It'll be down this side. And from the adjacent house, their barn is very similar massing to what we'll end up with here. The front wall of that barn is about here. So in the photographs, there's a little red barn behind the white house, and that will be here. So everything is pretty copacetic with the massing, the scale, the roof pitches, the materials. It was really their idea to do this, and my contribution was as much to pick the right way to circulate into the garage without wasting space from the entry link that we've enclosed. So they're at a slight hardship in their garage, but it's really the right way to get this done and to keep the scale and the massing of the roof lines appropriate to the surroundings.
What's the slight hardship in the garage?
It just, do you want to give up 3 feet of width from your garage,
To accommodate the staircase.
To
get up there.
Yes.
Yeah, so they'll get over it. I'm not sure they believe me yet, but they will.
Yeah. There's enough room there. I mean, we occupy it with workbenching right now that can easily be moved, so. The tools I don't use will be the hardship. You know.
So tell me about the decision to use the metal roof on the lower roof line.
Punctuation and practicality. The little porch roof that's there is kind of sub the amount of pitch you would like to have with asphalt shingles. Metal roof visually will give it a little spark in the interruption, if you will. The house has 3 roof colors on it now. There's a main roof color, there's a little red roof on the front bay, and there's a little metallic silvery roof over the front entry, which I think might have been an early porch. It was probably hot tar or something back in the day. So of the existing roof tones that are on it, will probably be closest to the metallic one on the front entry that's there now.
we're told that the red roof over the bay is original to the house, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's 1892 is what the records say.
It's a lovely accent.
I agree, it's noticeable from Main Street. Talk to me about why, I'm just not in love with this, I don't understand why the roof line isn't continuing. That's something I love from the side.
The house is,
It's like a run-on cape from.
it's getting to be
It's-
very long in proportion. If you look at the site plan, it's quite narrow, if you will, between, the lot. It's not a real wide lot. The house kind of occupies the width that it can,
Mhm.
still allowing a driveway. And I thought to just continue the roof line without an interruption would be maybe too predictable, too likely to get a no from you guys. I brought it in here with an unmitigated roof line like that.
Well, I mean, I like the accents, I like the gables, I like all of that. I just, having done a renovation myself on our house on Boughton, and having to deal with, I think we had something like 7 roof lines when we bought the house, and then had to like keep moving it up. I guess I'm not accurately articulating this. I wouldn't want it to be a straight all the way across, but that big dip just, I guess I'm the only one on the board that has that
I think
feeling about it.
I think it breaks up the house well. If it was one existing roof line all the way across, to your point, I think it would have been asked to be a redesign of some sort, because it would have just been structurally much too large. This keeps it separate from the two structures while joining them.
And we're not connecting upper floors.
Yeah, there's no upper floors connection,
Right.
so.
From the break of the material between what you see all over the village is a carriage house or a small barn, vertical barn siding, often still living on its original paint, very faded, very weathered, very kind of, it's a shed, it's a barn, it's a garage. It's not trying to be as dressy as the main body of the house, which is why we broke the material when we clad the garage.
The rear of the house on the second floor is the master, and there are windows on that back, so if it were to continue the same height
Okay.
or something close to, we would lose the only windows.
In that,
The main,
okay.
there are 2 on the side that you can also
Yeah.
see, but they're minor in scale compared to.
Now, that's a good point.
Well, technically, it's supposed to be subordinate anyways to the main structure. That's historic preservation, one of the guidelines.
Yeah. This drawing is a little faded. I had some questions on what these were, why is it blue and yellow,
Oh, that's just, it
75W.
was I was away from my office, if you will, and I needed to convey the lighting cone, if you will, on the house.
Oh, it's the lighting cone,
So
okay.
that would be a crude rendition of.
So that's 75 watts for the bulb.
Yes.
For the sconce, okay.
So it's not photographic or rendered, it's really.
Yeah, I was just trying to understand why we're doing that.
And the windows are the same size as the existing, the ones that you're
They're
putting in, the double
similar
hung here?
proportions wherever it made sense. On the west wall of the garage, we have a large window in the gable, and then there's 2 windows that are existing windows that serve the garage now. So we didn't really match window sizes. The windows are predominantly a tall vertical proportion. And the windows in the existing house are a combination of the original 1890s style. There's an old school replacement sash in an 1890s frame right under it. There's casement windows in the kitchen, and in the 1965 portion, they used casement windows there. So there's a full range of window operations and materials, if you will.
Nothing that would be impacted by this project is older than the 60s, 1960s. All the original windows will stay untouched.
On this drawing, are these dormers?
No,
Or is
those
that just
are
a-
Velux skylights
Oh, those are skylights?
in the west, or the north roof of the garage. One is over the sink and a little powder room that's up there, and one is over a sink from a bar sink serving the.
And then what about the 3 windows on the proposed entry space? On
Yeah,
the
those
north
are
side?
just little awnings, to, putting them in to be above the fence line. There's a little dotted line indicating the top of the existing stockade fence that's there. So those are just to give life to that space.
Is this the actual garage door that'll be used?
We won't have the curved top, but it's going to be
Right.
that basic configuration. So it's still a folding panel door, today's style door. It's not a solid door with glass across the top of it.
Back to this picture.
Yeah.
The overhang on the side of it is rather large. Is there a reason for that? If
Well,
I can get some information on like historical barns and barn structures and maybe
We're
other
going to
barns
match.
in the
Yeah, we're going
village
to match the existing overhang.
of the garage.
No, of the back wall of the existing. So, and I noted it here because the drawing indicates this line being broader than it's going to be. It's a 16-inch overhang from the clapboards.
Okay, so from the 1960s edition, overhang is going to be
We'd match
overhang.
that overhang
Okay.
with the new. And overhangs are good. Contractors.
Yeah, they are. These ones are a little large. And
Contractors
designs other
don't like to build,
barns.
they love to put these funky ladders on the outside of the house. Frame that in as an overhang, which limits them to 12 or 16 inches.
All right, now on the new entry door and side lights section of this drawing also.
Yes.
Will you explain what's going on onto the right and left of the proposed entry door? Are
Yeah.
these, because they kind of look like a door, I know they're not, they kind of look like they have 4
Would be a
windows.
solid panel divided like that, and the 2/2 windows above it as a side light window.
Was that, is any of that information in the packet here?
It doesn't really describe material or, profile of the dividers or anything like that. The goal is to end up with something that's not fussily trying to recreate a 19th century profile on the casings, if you will. It's 2020, 22 construction, so.
Yeah,
Maybe 20.
no, I think a lot of it looks really good.
But they're going to be all wood windows and all wood casing, and that's what where is that in the application? Am I just missing it?
No, I don't think any of that is in the application, or the roof material is in the application.
Well, it is in part, but not for, I guess where I'm having difficulty, and it's kind of off track from that, is just kind of where, so this is just an addition above the existing garage, correct?
Correct.
So what, if any, modifications, where, I know you're doing the new seam. Yes, this doesn't exist, that's what I thought.
Right, so we're coming into the garage with the stairway construction. It'll be drywalled under the rake of the stair as we come up to preserve as much of the counter space, if you will, around the perimeter of the garage. And this bit gets filled in.
Okay. So beyond the new entryway, from this point over, will there be any modifications to the existing structure other than the new roof? Well, I guess that's partially full.
Yeah, the porch gets roofed to
Yeah.
just make it continuous.
Yep.
The master bedroom, we're going to relocate a couple of windows to deal with the peak of the link. We're crowded for sill height, if you will, on those existing windows in the master bedroom.
On the rear of the house,
On the
not
rear.
on either side.
Okay.
And, for windows, wood windows versus a fiberglass versus an aluminum clad wood window. I mean, we have, like I said, we have the gamut of original sash, we have replacement original style sash, and then we have some 60s painted wood casements that are really indistinguishable other than the hardware from the outside of a contemporary casement window. Is there a prohibition against using something like fiberglass in a decent color? You want wood painted. Okay.
Yes, for the record. Yeah. Just head nods.
I think that I would make a motion that we table this for the next meeting, and I would like to have a list of the materials for the roof and the windows and the casing. I don't know if my fellow board members have.
Well, the roof is presented in the documentation. It's on the last page.
We do have at least asphalt shingles over here.
Yeah, but there's metal roof over the proposed new entryway.
Yeah, and that's shown
Right here.
on the last page.
Yeah, and it wraps around to the other side. That is illustrated, as you can see over here.
For consistency, I think that we need the windows, we need the doors.
Yes,
It is
absolutely.
one of the main
I think
components
that this is a
of our
really
board.
good drawing, great project. I think it's,
That's our roofing.
That it got very loud in there, like a thunderstorm.
Down at the bottom of the page.
This is the seam, yeah.
Just a small panel, small rib, standing seam roof.
A way to handle this would be basic approval of the project, subject to approval of the materials that are missing from the application. If we're allowed to go that way. Just really handle it.
I would also like to see updated drawings with the overhangs, with dimensions. Let me see what else I had down here. Door materials, windows materials, especially the ones on the back and these new front ones. What else do we have? Garage door looks great.
So I have a question. If it's a mandate for wood windows, why do we have to come back to tell you we're going to use wood windows?
Because if it's not in the application, it's not enforceable.
I see.
Yeah, it's more completion.
Understood.
Many times you can have an application that you put a condition on that this will happen, and that will happen. If the board wants to go that way, I'm not saying the board has to go that way, but you could approve it with, for instance, wood windows, correct the overhang, that the overhang will be such and such a dimension, and any other things that are of concern to the board.
My other concern is images of the skylights that you're going to be using, and I have to look up, I didn't know that there were going to be skylights until reviewing this right here, so look into the skylights in the village code as well.
So I made a motion, which I think either has to be seconded or shut down because we want to go forward with it in
I
a
did not
different
even
way.
catch you.
Yeah, then I'll second your motion, I heard the motion.
To table.
My motion was to table with the request that the applicant come back with the materials for the windows, I said roof, door, Member Olson said
skylights,
skylights and overhang.
overhang dimensions.
Okay.
Anything else?
Windows, doors, skylights, plus dimensions on overhead. Did I get that right?
Yeah,
That's correct.
and just more information on the skylights.
Got it.
So is there a prohibition against the use of a Velux skylight?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I did not know that that was in here. So when I saw it, I thought they were dormers at first. So I was just I didn't know that we were going to be reviewing that. I didn't do any research on them. They weren't in the packet, so, yeah, just.
Are those visible from the street?
No. Right, and they're not close.
If I parked my car on South Main Street headed south, I'd be overrun with other traffic, but I could probably conjure up some kind of a view back to there.
Steve?
I think that,
I wasn't aware or not familiar with the skylights, but I know that back roof is, I mean, you can barely see the porch that they're going to be putting in as it is. You'll barely see the garage addition.
right, I've never looked closely enough to know
Yeah.
that you have all of that back there in the first place. But it is our job to just to ask for these
Sure, yeah.
materials and to make sure that we're being
It is really
consistent.
policy to not have skylights if they're visible from the public way. I know they made somebody remove them from the house. at one point.
Okay.
There are
I
Makes
some,
the
I don't-
determination.
Are these skylights that are flat on the
They're
roof?
flat on the roof, they have about a
Yeah.
3-inch total curb, which is dark, it's a dark French gray color, flat glass.
Yeah, those have never been approved. We would have to do some serious digging to see, and they're going on an addition.
Yeah,
Whether going on an addition would make some kind of difference, but I've never, as the board's attorney, looked at that issue, and really, it's not a law issue. But precedent and how we got to where we got, it's kind of a law issue, but it's more of a historic preservation issue, whether skylights would be appropriate on a new addition. Really, the new addition that was being added to, what year garage, 60?
1965.
So that may all make a difference, but the more documentation that you can provide
Yeah.
with regard to
We need, the images as opposed to the picture that you're painting for us with your words.
historic publications, like from the Department of the Interior, the Secretary of Standards, there'll be preservation briefs that you can look at. To
Because
see,
those standards you reference very specifically recommend that an addition be identifiable
and that,
as distinct from the original age of what it's being added to.
And that may be-
Not try to fake people's eyes into thinking, oh, that's been there since 1890. I mean, it says not to do that.
that may be very, very much part of what you present to this board that will indicate to the board that maybe in this case, skylights are appropriate.
Because in this case, in studying how much height to add before we spring off the new roof, we're taking into account the 12-inch depth of the rafters plus a couple inches of the skylight as headroom in an area above a sink that's right up against that outside wall. So we probably would be showing more volume in the addition if we thought that we weren't going to be able to use the
Gotta
skylight.
get some light in there somehow.
Some light, and it lifts, if the drywall line is here, right, the line of headroom clearance under the skylight is more than a foot above that. So that's what we want to take advantage of as we're trying to squeeze down the massing of the addition.
And is it a fixed window? It doesn't, does it open?
I put in a fixed one in my house and it was stupid. Every time I have to go on the roof to clean it, I regret that I didn't do the operating one, which allows you to kind of flip it around so you can clean the top surface of it and then close it. And then ventilation, it provides great ventilation as well.
So I understand all of the interior reasons and all of the good reasons for why you're doing that on the inside, but what we have to talk about is whether it's visible from the street, whether it fits our design guidelines, and so just bring us the pictures for next time, I think is the best.
And you mean Main Street and Jefferson? Take pictures from both? Or
Well, just of the skylight in and of itself, just like.
Right, so there
It's
should
also
be-
saying what, if you can see it
Like
from the
where is
street.
it?
Any public way.
Yeah, any public way.
Because, yeah, if it's opening theoretically based, I don't know how tall that opens, but that could create it to be visible from a public way.
Right, and that's all, I just didn't know if there was specific, like where we should be taking pictures from.
It's public way or wherever the
Okay.
public gathers. But
Okay.
really, that's Steve's call. It's going to be Steve's decision, whether it's not visible from the public way. And I think the architect's point here was that if you take out the skylights, then that might make it more massive.
That was
I'm
heard.
completely in favor of it in principle, it's just I want to make sure that it's in the application.
Of course, yeah, sure.
Well, I'm not sure that we should be okay with them in principle.
Oh, I mean, just generally not.
Until we
Sure.
substantiated that it's appropriate in these circumstances. Steve, can you look into, weren't those skylights on the main structure?
The ones that they made room were facing State Street, or facing Main Street. There are other skylights throughout the village on non-visible
Main
roofs.
Street,
I had one in my old house, I inherited a skylight.
I'd have to look back at them, you know, I mean, I'd say there's probably 25 of them within the village.
I would say probably they haven't been for, not my time representing the board.
Do we need to vote on the table,
Yes,
Mr. Chair?
I was waiting. Okay, roll call. Member Evans?
Yes.
Member Olson?
Yes.
Acting Chair Dabrowski?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
So I just want to make sure we're absolutely clear on what we're saying, the applicant, way to do it. And I think from the skylight perspective, it's the preservation
sure.
approach to putting the skylight in where you're putting it. And I'll look at it too, we'll do some looking, but.
And the guidelines themselves, are they still available on the website under historic preservation in case they wanted to just look at the same thing that we're looking
You
at?
mean the design guidelines?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are all in there.
Yes.
Yeah, you
And that's what we'll be
Google
basing.
Secretary
Design
Interior
guidelines are on
guidelines.
the website.
They've renamed them, they don't call them that anymore. They have another name for it.
For what?
The Secretary of Interior has renamed
Standards, I think it is.
reconstruction and renovation standards.
Okay.
And then they have a true historic reconstruction standard, which is a separate documentation, which will be for something where, you're gonna custom hand mix the mortar, and, if you're gonna repoint this structure, you might get into that set of requirements.
Probably not applicable to a 2022 addition to a 1965 garage.
Wow, I think that's true.
Question for the board. When we come with materials for windows and doors, how specific do we need to be? Manufacturer, model number?
Or not the model number, but
Just a
it's
cut
visual.
sheet, just a cut sheet showing what you need.
A cut sheet.
Measurements.
Now, were we to come to you with a cut sheet from Pellet, for example, and we decided through our builder, we got a better deal from Anderson, how does that impact what we're able to do?
As long as it's the same window.
Okay.
Like same model number.
Dimensions,
Well,
But
Same
with
dimensions,
different-
same materials. If it's
Yeah.
a different manufacturer, that's not something that we're going to hold you
Okay.
to, but it has to be the same dimensions and the same number of
Materials.
panes and the same
Yeah.
kind of casing.
This was what felt a little confusing before coming in today.
Sure,
Materials.
sure, no, it
How to build
is.
it.
It
How do
is,
we
yeah.
know, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, you might want to make some calls to builders and, see, but, yeah, it's probably not much fun. But Kendra was right, but, size, style, material.
Term is in kind.
In kind, fair enough. Makes
I
sense.
think in this case.
Well, but it's
the
new,
term-
so-
No, he's saying in kind between Anderson and
Right. Oh, I know. Like I said,
Pella.
if they show you a Pella window and they want to do an Anderson, it better be in kind to this Pella. Same dimension, same material.
Yes.
all that.
I would use the word identical.
Okay.
Just so you're aware, the next HPB meeting is October 17th at 5:30, but anything that you're submitting, I will need that. The deadline date is October 3rd.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good.
And you'll submit that to us like we did everything else.
But I think in this case, somebody stumbles on something between the 3rd and the 17th, we want to know about it.
Correct.
So,
Well, right, so they have to submit it because I create the packet and then I post it, right?
yeah, okay.
Thank you for sharing those dates. I think it's very helpful to be transparent and to let
So if you
everyone know where it
if you
is.
need
Yeah.
extra time, like an extra couple days, whatever, call and let me know so I don't post the packet.
Sure.
But if you have everything, if you could get it to us that week, that would be great.
We'll make.
Sorry, Crystal, I understand what you're saying now.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, give me a yellow meet and
Okay.
we'll go over where the skylights are
Yeah, terrific.
and figure things out.
Visibility from public way. Materials and dimensions for doors and windows. Dimensions on overhang, skylight information. I would consider the skylights to be part of the windows and doors.
Very good.
If that's a standing seam roof on that porch area, you want the specifics on that too.
I think that's already.
I mean,
but understood.
width, height.
Okay.
Actually, before we send them away, do either of you have any objection to the metal seam roof? Because I would hate for that to be a sticking point when they come back.
I'm loath to say something without seeing the dimensions on it. In theory, I am not opposed
To the
to
material.
standing, I am not
When you
singularly,
say
but
metal like, what does that mean? Or metallic? I think.
Well, metallic it's probably a metallized asphaltic coating on the original front door entry. But it presents as a silver tone something, but ours is standing seam metal roof.
Okay.
It'll be a Galvalume
Yeah.
product, so it'll be
I get it.
field-made joints. It looks like you guys don't have this, but this one, it comes in a 1-inch high and a 12 3/8 inch panel width.
we'll probably have the full board next month, so having that dimension for the full board, I think, would be important.
Okay.
And if doors weren't on that new door should also be on that list.
And there are accessory units within the village, not, there are a couple of full roofs, but there are accessory units throughout the village. That you look, especially on Sutherland, some of the porches, things like that, have standing seams for minor portions of the home.
Well, that was probably.
Minor
done-
portions, yeah.
That was probably done when they realized that asphalt wasn't working for them, and they had leaks all the time. So they put a roof that would handle that.
Didn't we
They're
just-
from the
Modern
same
asphalt
time
is
period,
just
too.
terrible.
Didn't we just do that?
Modern asphalt is just terrible and thin and useless.
Didn't we just do that on a house that Newcomb owns? Where we had that weird, where the roof didn't really come in right? What did we put on that? I mean, what did they put on? Yeah, I mean, I seem to remember there was a metal roof used in a very specific location for a leak. That's what,
Right, for a flat, like a low pitch roof.
but I thought that was Newcomb's house.
Yeah, Newcomb?
Might not have been, might have been somebody else.
Yeah, not Newcomb,
If you remember, we could look it up in the minutes, right? I don't remember that since I've been on.
I was going to say, I don't think I was on the board very
I don't
much.
remember.
That's not that.
No, we haven't had them come in and they get approved. We've had,
The one that's already on.
Just a little section.
yeah, like I said, there's a couple on Sutherland that have porches.
All right, I thought we did.
I know it's not a residence, but the pavilion on the canal that was built between Aladdin's and Lot 32 is a beautiful.
I want to say thank you.
Yes.
We want to keep you in the
We
village.
really
It's a
appreciate
beautiful
the
project.
Really,
Yeah.
really good conversation. And thank you guys for your time and input, and we'll see you on 17th.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you, everybody.
Friends had one, they called it the frog. All right.
Weird.
Garage.
Nerd.
What was it?
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I would hate for them to come back next month and then.
You saw where I was going with that.
5 South Main Street. Evening. Doing well, how about yourself?
Thanks.
Oh, tell us about the sign here.
Well, I want to say apologize because I give to the company and the company is supposed to do get a permission from me. So, and a few weeks later they say, your sign is ready, we're gonna go put it on. I say, okay, and I didn't know the permit wasn't ready actually.
So
Yeah, that was going to be a question, as rather newer board members of signs that are already installed that are still yet to be approved. We just
Then
we'll just take it down, just
you
keep
take
going.
the application as though it's signed, we're not there.
Okay.
And so it's the exact same dimensions as the
Yeah, there was
previous sign?
the same sign. He just have to basically change the name.
So who are you? Tell us about yourself. Are you the owner of the building or the contractor?
I'm the contractor. I will be having a sign with the building.
Okay.
Yes.
Steve, this special permit has not been approved yet, right?
Pardon?
Special permit for this has not been approved.
No, not yet.
For
The new
Yeah,
restaurant,
the business.
right?
For the business?
Yeah, so I would make your approval subject to.
Contingent on the,
Yeah.
And what's that hinging on?
Approval of the special use permit required for the operation.
And they had to do public hearing, so that didn't, won't come back up till the 29th. It should be technically a formality as a restaurant, same use, same volume, everything.
But it doesn't really matter, it doesn't really matter to them as long as they just, it's all signage, if the sign's okay, then
Yep.
it's.
No, that's just good background information. I didn't know about that.
I wasn't sure either, but I thought it wasn't done.
other questions? I don't have any. It's the same size.
Yeah, it seems the
looks
density of the lettering is the
appropriate to me.
same. It's,
Basically, exact same sign it was there, just different.
yeah. So either, do you have any concerns or comments? Questions?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the application for signage at 5 South Main at this meeting on the 19th of the Historic Preservation Board, contingent upon approval of a special use permit by the village trustees.
I'll second that.
Member Olson?
Yes.
Member Evans?
Yes.
Acting Chair Dabrowski?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Finding of fact, it has no adverse impact on the historic resource and it's easily removable.
The sign, the sign's already up, which I was surprised to see it today. Just understand if for some reason the board would deny you, which, I can't say yes or no, but if they would deny you, that sign would have to come down. And the likelihood is,
I apologize for that.
Steve, do you need a building permit?
Pardon?
Building permit?
He's gonna need to get a permit for the sign, yes. I'll add it to the building permit already existing for
Okay.
the project. All right?
You're all set.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day, thanks.
We didn't have minutes, did we, Chair?
I don't believe so, and
Okay.
actually I had a question, if we had minutes from
I
the
was
meeting
gonna
that I wasn't in
say that.
attendance to, would I be able to vote upon them?
No.
I didn't think
So
so.
we couldn't pass them anyway.
Yeah.
You have to.
There's no minutes.
Yeah, oh, yeah, just for my own edification.
Yeah, you have to abstain.
I believe that would be the case, but I wanted to hear it. Well,
I'd like to make a motion, oh, sorry.
I have
Okay.
something,
Okay.
if that's okay. You may or may not realize the governor did not continue the ability to have virtual meetings, video conferencing. That's one of the reasons we have 3 instead of 4 tonight. There is the ability, the legislature enacted a new law that allows for video conferencing as long as 3 members are present at a place where the public can attend, as long as anyone who wants to attend, any other member who wants to attend by video conferencing appears by video conference. And if, as long, provided that there are extraordinary circumstances present, and we certainly would have it with the voting class. So I'm suggesting to the board that it does a resolution allowing for that video conferencing. There are also regulations. The Office on Open Government, Committee on Open Government has a form resolution and form regulations that go along with it that I can just change to fit our board. So I would.
I'm strongly in favor of that.
I would suggest that I draft something, and it's okay, that we have the village staff put it on for a public hearing the 17th. You have to have a public hearing to do this.
Full resolution. Will all of our boards do it? Is there a way that we could do that
Well, there is.
simultaneously, I suppose?
I don't know what the trustees will do. Trustees could do it for all the boards, but each board can do it for themselves. So I would suggest that this board does it for itself, and whatever the trustees do, or whatever the right word is, will impact or not impact you. But you can do it for yourselves.
is that contingent upon something happening in Albany, or is it just they put out this model?
Oh, no, the legislature enacted a law. Let me back up. The current public officers law, before the new legislation, required open meetings in public. There was a subparagraph in that section which says you can have a video conference provided that the public can be wherever anyone is video conferencing. Pandemic. The emergency orders from the executive orders from the governor changed all of that and allowed for straight video conferencing. That ended on September 11th.
13th. Oh, was it the 12th?
Monday was the 12th.
11th was Sunday, so that would make sense.
Yeah, somewhere in there, but, a week and a half into September. And when that happened, but not when that happened, prior to that happening, the legislature decided to change the previous public officers law open meeting requirement to what I just said. So you can only not be there if you've got an emergency, extraordinary circumstances. You're ill, but you can participate. You can do it from home. You're out of town on business, you can participate from wherever you are. You got a medical condition or emergency, but you're able to do it, you can do it from home. So just allows for the possibility of a full board operating, even though one or two of them is unavailable.
So we need to have a motion for you to draft that.
No, just
Question, can you write one that encompasses all boards for the municipality?
no, I can't do a resolution.
No, but couldn't you, the village do a resolution for all boards?
The village would do it by local law.
You would have to do a local law for everyone, but right now we're gonna do a resolution for each board because we don't know how each board.
Let me start again. Let me just stop. The Board of Trustees can do it for themselves and all boards,
But we don't know what they're going to do.
but it has to be done by local law.
Yep.
We don't know yet whether the trustees are going to do that or not. They may not. But we know that we can do it, the HPB can do it for themselves by resolution, subject to a public hearing. Even though we never have public hearings at the HPB, we're required to do it by public hearing. We want to have this resolution because the state statute, which enables this, says you must have a public hearing. So.
Yes, please.
So if the Board of Trustees do a local law, it will encompass all the boards, they have to have a public hearing. They could.
They don't have to, they can do a local law for themselves.
That's not our purview anyway, so we
We're
decide.
going to do it for ourselves,
Yeah.
and if they decide to do it, then that encompasses us, and if not, then we're covered also. I like it.
Right, so.
I would,
So can we
to
have
me,
that?
I suggest you reach out to the mayor and ask if they're going to do it as one, so you don't have to waste your time doing it with a public
I
hearing.
think we can get this done faster than
Yeah.
the trustees can do it anyway,
Oh, okay.
because of how they have to.
So can we just ask that it be on the agenda for next?
Well, here's my plan. I'm going to do it, I'm going to send it around the board, I'm going to get, everybody's okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to give it to the staff, they'll put it out, they'll get it published,
Mhm.
and it will be on the agenda.
Do we need to disseminate it in any capacity outside of that?
It'll be posted, and whatever they do.
We can't, just from my other experience, we can't introduce it and have the public hearing on the same night.
That the legislature can't, but you can.
Could they do a resolution tonight?
No.
We can't do the resolution, but
You
we
don't have
could
to
set the public hearing for October 19th.
No, you don't have anything to set the public hearing on. The trustees have to move stuff to public hearing. In the case of the plan, PZBA and the HPB, well, let me strike that. In the case of the PZBA, something comes in and the village staff sets the public hearing. So that's why I'm saying there's no reason that once you are okay with what comes in, then the chair can say, yes, send it to public hearing, and we'll have the staff set up the public hearing for the 17th.
Great. I look forward to it.
It's only a small thing, but it's nice to do findings contemporaneously, but don't worry if something is missing, because the only time, well, not the only time, one of the times that findings is important is if you get sued, but you can amend and modify those findings at any time. So you can add stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
That's good to know. Appreciate it.
That's all I got.
I have a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Member Olson?
Yes.
Member Evans?
Yes.
Acting Chair Dabrowski?
Aye.
Goodbye.
Arr, matey.